takes me deep. Your heart is my temple. Your tears rinse my feet. I walk out, I'm able to carry your peace. It reminds me of a song that I heard long ago. Maybe I've always known that you were right there. A simple melody playing over and over in my dreams. And somehow out of reach, eluding me until I release. You come close to me when I release, and I let you take the lead when I release. My heart starts to see when I release. When I release, you said, "Come to my garden, eat from my tree, step in my river, let it take you deep. Your heart is my temple, your tears rinse my feet. You walk out, you're able to carry my peace. It's an ancient sound heard from the ones who came before. Now it's here once more to pierce your soul. A simple melody playing over and over in your streets, like a whirlwind turning things, tearing down the dark. That's where I release, and my heart starts to sing when I release. I let you take the lead when I release. You come close to me when I release. When I release, it's all in your feelings. It's all how I receive your sound. All in your feelings, your emotions, they find me out. It's all in your feelings. It's all how I receive your sound. All in your feelings, your emotions, they find me out. When I let it go, when I let it go, then I let it go. I let it all go now. I let it go. Hey, now I let it go. I let it go. I let it all go now.
Yo, what's up, everybody? We are live. We're actually here in the building Tuesday night, like we do every time. We got a lot to talk about. It's a lot going on, a lot of stuff happening over the weekend, and I got the fellas with me. And for those watching on Instagram, we got a new little. Hold on, let me switch it over. Boom. So if you're watching on Instagram and you just tuned in, you can see both of us now in the aspect ratio. Let me see. I'm gonna wait till it pops up. Ooh, there it goes. Easy. So yeah, if you're watching Young Lion TV. Let's go.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
Young Lion TV every Tuesday night. You know how we do it. We go live and we talk about stuff that's happening in the world. So I want to give a shout out to everybody who's watching right now. I see people jumping in on the chat on Facebook, on YouTube, Rumble. We on Instagram Live right now, and we're all over the place. So share this video, hit that like button, let everybody know that we're having these conversations. We appreciate all the support we've been getting lately. We had another clip that's kind of taken off. You pointed it out to me. I posted it the other day and it was jumping up. It's hit over 150,000 views in the last couple of days. And a lot of crazy comments. It was a clip where we were talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Yeah, on Facebook, it started going crazy.
Talk about Taylor, man.
Yeah.
Coming at Taylor Swift.
Yeah, so it's...
Did you didn't put the clip in there where it's all talking like this, the news talking about Taylor Swift is not a psyop thing?
I didn't put that in there.
You should add that in.
I should have added that in.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. That wasn't a real... That was someone made that. They used AI to make that. That wasn't a real... So that's why I didn't add it in, because that came from that same one that we saw before where it was like our democracy, where they talked about our democracy is under threat. It was that video that they just put AI words over top of. Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah. So, because I was looking for it. And I was like, okay, I can't find it. I only found that one version.
Okay.
And then I realized that it was AI that they created that with. So I didn't include it just, because people would be like, this is fake.
I was going to say it was fake because you know how I just doubt everything.
Yeah, well, as we should. As we should. The internet will trick you.
I fell for it. I was like,
Well, you sent it to us, right? So.
No, James sent it to us.
Oh, you sent it to us.
I saw it on Instagram.
He said Jamie was right.
Sometimes I think I always get confused because they both say, James. I just see James real quick. And I'm doing stuff. So sometimes I think it's Jamie. Sometimes I think it's you. Like vice versa.
Yeah.
We got to watch out, man, nowadays. I think it was you. You talked to me about those videos where they're using AI in advertisement now. I see that with all celebrities. Like you were talking about Joe Rogan. But you could tell the voices. They'll have Jennifer Lopez. This is how Jennifer Lopez is lost all this weight or whatever. And you gotta watch out nowadays.
I noticed that with a lot of soccer players. Because, of course, I watch soccer stuff, so it comes up in my feed.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing, like, they'll use, like, Cristiano Ronaldo or...
Messi.
Not Messi so much because he doesn't speak English. But, like, especially Cristiano Ronaldo, Ibrahimovic.
Yeah.
They'll use them, and then they'll use little clips of them talking, and it looks like they're talking about other players, but they're not talking about those players.
Wow.
And they're giving them praise or like just saying horrible stuff about them.
Yo, that's crazy.
But it's fake. Because once you actually, it shows them like in the interview, it's not really them saying those words, but you got to look closely.
Man, we are entering a crazy time, man. Did you guys see the clip of the president from Argentina when he was at the World Economic Forum giving his speech and he was trashing all of them? So it's all in Spanish, but they've used AI to do an English version of it, and it's his voice with with a Spanish accent speaking English.
Is it correct though? Is
Yeah,
it, like,
it is correct.
okay.
But what I'm saying is like they even put the accent on it.
Wow.
So he sounds like a guy whose English is his second language.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like the way they could do it now. It's crazy. But yeah, let me get into my intros, man.
we got
We got into it
sidetracked.
already. So I got to give a shout out to the people watching again. Make sure you share and like the video. I see Jeffrey in there. He said, yep, I'm convinced that everybody, our supposed leaders, is paid off these days to channel us. Could be, man. Could be. Shout out to Jeffrey, one of our Patreon members and our Lion King level. Lion King level. He is definitely a Lion
Mufasa
King.
level.
And
We
the
appreciate you,
father-in-law of
man.
Simone Chang.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, speaking of Simone Chang, he's the coolest Asian in the world. He's our brother, and he's sitting right next to me as always. He is Mr. Simone Chang in the building. Everybody, drop some likes in the comment for Simone Chang. Hit them thumbs up over
What's
there.
that jersey you got on?
It's just a generic Nike jersey.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's because it says Nike Football Club.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
There's no football club
I
that's
don't know
Nike,
that
right?
team.
Yeah. And then of course we got on the other chair. I call him the most confusing man in America. The most confusing man in New Jersey, definitely. He looks black. He eats Indian.
You got to start throwing in there with the perfect goatee.
The perfect. Always got the perfect goatee.
Perfect goatee.
He eats black.
No, he looks black. He eats Indian. And he's got the Spanish last name. He is Mr. James Garcia.
You better believe it.
Yep.
That is funny.
And we got, he's my big brother, but if you know him, he's everybody's big brother because he ain't letting nothing get past him. He is the preacher, the teacher, the people reacher. He's Mr. Jacob Eugene Evans III.
I let none get past me, huh?
Yeah.
I would disagree, but
And of course, we got the best producer in the world, and she is over there. Look at her.
Under a squirrel attack right now.
Yeah. She is. Did you check out her squirrel stuff?
I did.
Well, she is our mother. She's Miss Angelique Lopez over there. Doing a
Under
great job.
siege.
Go back to the script. What did you say, Mom? Say that
You have
again.
to do your own self.
I have to do what?
Introduce
introduce-
yourself.
Oh. And I am your navigator for the Young Lion podcast. My name is Jamie Evans.
Better known as
like of the navigator.
MacGyver.
Speaking of the navigator, man, I just had to navigate for months. I've been navigating all the video clips for the Grateful music video.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Man,
did such a great job, dude.
there's a lot of videos.
it was
a
so
great
many
job.
videos,
Yeah,
but it came out
Yeah, they
dope,
come
man.
up
Like
nice.
it really showed the trip that we had in South Africa. It showed like what we experienced and our performances,
play
just
a
our
little bit
day-to-day.
of it.
Yeah, we could play it. Matter of fact, it's on this laptop.
The
so-
video.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
I never saw anything from your guys' trip.
No,
No.
you
I
haven't
don't
seen
think
it?
I have.
All right, let me see. I'll play it.
You could
Well,
see some of it on here.
you get to see a premiere.
So for those that don't know, this is our single "Grateful" right here, and it's been doing well. It's been streaming really well, and we've been putting together footage for it. We shot so much footage while we were in South Africa, and we wanted the world to see all that stuff in a music video style, kind of like documentary style, but also music video style. So this is kind of the summation of that. So here we go. World premiere, Grateful music video on the Young Lion podcast. Oh,
nobody else. But then time caught up with my plans. And when the day broke, it exposed me for the fool that I really am. But you said, let me lead you, let me take you by the hand, yeah. So I can feed you from a good and precious land. All my eyes have seen, you're all I need. You're all I need. Yeah. So now I'm learning to walk in your steps. And through the valley of confusion, I've been losing my apprehension with death. But you said, let me lead you, let me take you by the hand. So I can feed you from a good and precious land. Now I owe it all to you, giving my heart to you, freedom becoming true. Nobody else like you, do what you promised to. And I'm so grateful for your love. And all my eyes have seen the wonders of your mystery received. I've tasted what it means. Now nothing else is good enough for me. You're all I need. You're all I need. You're all I need. You're all I need. Oh, I need you. Yeah, I need you. Oh, I need you now. Now I owe it all to you, giving my heart to you, freedom becoming true. Nobody else like you, do what you promised to, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your love. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I need you in my life.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, all the footage that we shot ourselves while we were in South Africa. We were filming everything. We had John with us.
Yeah, nice.
Shout out to John. He was getting a lot of footage of us at like sound check and while we were on stage, so we could use that stuff. So man, excited about it. Came out good.
Yeah, very nice.
Thera said dope. And Jeffrey said that, wow, the culture outside of the U.S. is amazing. He said the dance and the drama tells stories from one generation to the next. We need that. Yeah, for real.
Yeah. And they make really good pepper sauce.
Yeah, they do. They do. Matter of fact, that was the restaurant where we got it from. Yeah.
If you the video of the table.
Yeah, that's where we had the beef tongue. That's where all that stuff on the plate was like liver, sausage, tripe, beef tongue. Yeah, it was a whole bunch of different stuff.
So much meat.
Yeah,
we ate so good there.
Yeah, and then right outside of there, that's where we
the soccer.
Outside the restaurant, that's where the kids were practicing
nice.
soccer.
That's awesome, man.
So we went there and shot it. The kids were so nice, man. It was like. It was beautiful to see their energy and how, and it made sense for the video because like for them to be grateful to be able to play. And you saw the field they were playing on. They didn't even have goals. They didn't have like none
Their
of them
ball
had
was
proper
terrible.
equipment. The ball
They had
was-
one ball.
Yeah.
Right.
and it was not a real soccer ball. Yeah,
How did you guys feel being there? I mean, apartheid ended in the 90s.
yeah. And we went to Mandela's
Yeah.
house.
And to see how these people are like, they put that behind them.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some issues with it. You know,
Yeah.
there's still
Well,
some
that's- of
issues.
course.
Yeah, but yeah, it is crazy. to see
Relatively
that.
only like 30, less than 30 years
Yeah,
Yeah.
ago.
right. But you don't see it still like in the forefront like things are here. You know, it's weird, but yeah. I mean, it was definitely interesting to see the cultural aspects of how they live.
I mean, this is the footage you guys showed me of the mall. Just
Yeah, yeah.
clean and
Yep. I mean, it was definitely like, you know, like you can see there were some towns that we showed footage of where,
Sure.
you know, they were very, very poor.
and they're gonna have you're gonna have
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely interesting to see how beautiful and how like amazing the cities were. Like Johannesburg. What was the one city that we stayed at right before Johannesburg where we did the one show?
Durban?
No, Durban was the last city.
It wasn't really a city. You talking about Sun City? The place
No,
we
no,
stayed
no.
at?
The one before that.
Oh, Cape Town.
No. It started with a P.
Yeah.
When we did where that we stayed right by the stadium, the arena. We stayed at the hotel connected to the arena, but we didn't do a
Sun
show
City,
at that
when
arena.
we were at Sun City.
No. It's
No,
not
at-
Sun City. The one where we went out at night and we went to the Starbucks. Remember that hotel where we stayed at?
Oh. Yeah, I don't remember. I think
Yeah.
it was like Pretoria or
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I'll look on the
But
map
even
real
like that city was really upscale and nice. It was cool, man.
quick. Yeah,
Like,
it was nice.
yeah. Yeah. I wish we got more footage. I wish we got more footage there and at Durban.
The exchange rate, though.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh my God. Amazing. Shout out to Thera sending us 20 stars on Facebook.
Yeah, that's what it was. Pretoria.
Pretoria, yes, that was it. And she
You
said
guys were all
she
up
said I
there.
can't eat tongue.
You're hungry
You
enough,
wouldn't-
you will.
Yeah.
You wouldn't tell. You wouldn't be able to tell if somebody just said, "Oh, here's a piece of steak."
Yep.
If you had a hot dog, you ate tongue.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
You can tell the difference between steak and tongue. Definitely.
Not if you stew it, because I've had beef tongue tacos before,
but
where
grilled,
it's like
you can tell.
Oh, grill. Yeah.
on some parts taste, you know,
What I had,
different.
you can tell. It was good, but
Right.
definitely could tell the difference.
Yeah.
Wasn't a fan of the
Organ meat.
tripe.
No, the tripe wasn't good.
No.
Nah. It
Yeah.
tasted too much like innards.
Yeah,
You know?
It
That's
had
that to smell and
It
that
had
taste.
that smell. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a fan.
That was the one thing.
Yeah, I'm
Jamie-
used.
If Jamie says he wasn't a fan, then I know it didn't taste good.
And Moan too, because Moan eats
Yeah,
just as
I'm-
much as I do.
But
I'm used to, you know, tripe a certain way. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
When we use tripe, like we boil it and we clean it out, like, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like it pretty much just a texture thing, you know. You put in
Right.
for
Yeah, tripe
Or
and
soup.
pho has no taste.
Yeah.
It's just a texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah. It's like eating cartilage almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But that sausage was amazing.
Yeah, sausage was so good.
Right.
Yeah, everything else was good.
Yeah. They had
Yeah.
ribeye.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything we ate was good. Even the Nando's.
Right.
Stara said, "I love hot dogs. Love them." then you like
All right.
beef tongue,
You tasted it.
brains, eyeballs, all of that.
The Nando's was good because it was so cheap too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Right, dude. We were, well, not to mention they were paying for everything. So
Steak was like 50 cents a pound.
yeah, dude. It was that cheap
Wow.
Wagyu steak.
for Wagyu.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for Wagyu. That was
Real
the first
Wagyu?
time. Yeah,
Wow.
that was the first time I had a
We had-
Wagyu ribeye
Yeah, we had
because it was so cheap, $17.
Wagyu.
$17.
Oh wait, no. That
That
was
one
the
was
T-bone.
higher.
That was the T-bone. The Wagyu ribeye was like 25.
No,
Now,
it was
granted,
30
there,
something.
there are different levels though, because
Oh.
you know, my brother is like a
Oh,
beef-
yeah,
a
yeah.
beef. There's like 5
Yeah.
A or whatever
Yeah,
like
A5,
that.
Kobe. Yeah, those are like
But you can
But
tell,
even the lowest level is still
expensive.
expensive.
because he's
Yeah.
still he gets those sometimes, and you know, when he makes it, I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
You know, how tender it is and how, you know, flavorful it really is.
Your brother be buying them expensive ass
He does.
Wagyus.
He does.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Eating well.
He good.
I gotta give a shout out to Stan. I know he's watching on Rumble right now, man. We miss you in the den. He's the Black Batman. He's not here right now, but shout out to him. Also, guys, just want to mention, if you want to support the Young Lion cause, the Pride, become a part of the Pride. We had someone email us today talking about how they love the show, but inflation is a problem right now. And I said, yeah, I get you, but if you just for the lowest tier, $3 a month, you can get access to the Patreon stuff, and we're going to be putting up videos where we go into more depth on certain topics on the Patreon. So if you want to support, you can go to our Patreon and sign up to become a member over there. And also, we have merch. We have mugs, we have shirts, hats, all kind of stuff that you can get to support. You saw it all in the video. There was a lot of Young Lion merch in the video.
Moan was pointing to it.
I know. I was like, I gotta use this. So it was cool. And then that one shot was really cool where the elephant was coming by you and but the hat was in focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. John shot that on purpose, which was dope.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You did a good job, man.
Yeah, he did.
You did a good job editing. I was very proud watching that.
Yeah, thanks, man. All the close-ups of the dancers was John. Those were great shots.
They were.
Yeah. So, shout out to him. Jess said, I love the video. Of course you do. Courtney said, hey, family. What's up, Courtney? Patreon King, Lion King Patreon member, Courtney, and our sister, Courtney Davis. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys share the video, like the video. If you're on IG, make sure you guys share this, man. We finally got the aspect ratio right for the IG live. What's up?
So we were talking about, some people asking us questions about certain topics.
Yeah.
And you kind of touched on it, but we should probably do that for Patreon.
Yeah.
Go into deeper depth on some of these topics that people want.
Well, I've been suggesting that for a few years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we should do some. I think you should do some deep dives into certain things that you have, talked to me about and talked to Mom about and stuff like that. And those could be on our Patreon. I think that people would get a lot out of that. Yeah. But it's only for those, like the Patreon is for people that really want to buy in and learn more and that really follow us. Like this dude in the email you see, he said him and his wife love the podcast. Mm-hmm. But that's somebody that would enjoy seeing more content than just the live stream and the little clips that we make every now and then. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So I think we should do stuff like that for the Patreon. And so if you guys are watching, you want to sign up for the Patreon, head on over there, patreon.com/youngliontv. Become a member over there, and you can show your love.
And also, if you have questions.
Yeah, if you have questions.
Or, things you want us to go into, maybe stuff you might think we're knowledgeable on.
Yeah, or if you just want to hear our take on something. Because this podcast is like, and I didn't go into our spiel today, but this podcast is not about, you're not looking at 4 experts in the field of anything. We're just guys that we've been through a lot in life. We've learned a lot. And we came to an awakening around the same time. And it came from us following Jesus, really. But it also opened our eyes to a lot of the things that we had been blinded to in our lives as young men, and a lot of things that we just fell into the traps of throughout the years. So we talk about those things and we try to wake people up from those same traps and kind of break those spells. We call them spells over people because it really is kind of like that's why I call it broadcasting. It's a large spell over the masses a lot of times. We're going to get into that a little bit because I want to, Candace Owens did a breakdown about Sexy Red. I want to talk about that in a couple seconds. But yeah, so this podcast is about that. So we're just guys that are fathers, husbands, businessmen that have been doing things, learning from life as we go, and we talk about what we've learned. We talk about our take on things.
Because
Go ahead.
because we care.
Yeah,
Because we care about our families, we care about our communities.
yeah,
We
Our
care
country.
about our country.
yeah.
We care.
And I think it's important to show that men can talk about these things, because I think there's this idea that unless you're an intellectual or unless
I was going to add to that.
Go ahead.
When you said we're not experts, what I like about that is now, in order to have an opinion, you need to have that title first.
Yeah.
You know, so you're an expert at this,
Right.
and it's like, no, we're regular men
Mm-hmm.
and women, and we've iron sharpens iron. The podcast is now, but this has been going on
Yeah, we've had these conversations
for a
years.
long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
And we've been talking about this. And like you said, all of us sort of landed at the same place where we started to really realize the things that we were entertaining, our ideologies, our thought process, our belief system. And we challenged each other. Why do
Yeah.
you feel the way you do? Or things that we loved at one time.
right.
How do we process that? So when you said we're not experts, that's actually a good thing, because the people who claim to know everything know nothing,
They always seem to get it wrong, right?
Yeah.
right? So I like that. I like that we're just regular men. Like you said, first we put God first and family, and we're trying to share our experience with other people, hoping that they grasp something. We're not
Yeah.
asking you to grab everything, and we don't want you to be mini us or think like us, but we want you to see our hearts. That's really what this is about.
And also maybe you'll get something from, sometimes when we talk about topics, people are like, wow, I never even realized that, or I never saw it that way. And then
We do it with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bounce ideas off each other.
and the next thing you know, you're like, wow, now that doesn't have a hold over me anymore.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see it that way. There's a great video that I saw the other day of what's his name, George Janko, and he was talking about why he doesn't feel like cursing is a big deal, right? And he had these girls on his podcast that I guess they're like newly believers, and they have their own like Christian podcast as they learn about they're reading the Bible and stuff like that. And then just their conversation with him changed his mind on the whole situation.
Yeah.
And he was like,
In
"This is the
real
last
time.
Yeah, and you could see it happen in real time. He's like, "This is the last. I make a vow that I'll never curse again." Like in that podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was interesting to watch that dynamic.
Right.
Yeah,
While he was in the middle of explaining
Yeah.
himself.
Why
Yeah.
he does? Why
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
does it.
so
yeah,
so that's a good point. Like, a lot of times people hold things against. You said this at one time. You're allowed to grow as a person.
Yep.
What you thought, in the past may not be where you're at now, just because you have a community of people that
a great point.
bouncing ideas off of each other.
But it's amazing when you grow in the Lord, how He changes even your personality,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
your thoughts. Because I remember telling Jake, and when he used to curse a lot, I
Yeah.
remember saying to him, "But why do you gotta curse so much?" And he was like, "Mom, there's nothing wrong with that." But now he doesn't.
Now he's saying that to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't say I'm perfect. Sometimes it comes out.
Right.
Yeah.
But having, because it's one thing to say, like, why do you got to curse him so much in a condescending way, or in just like a judgmental way,
Right.
which is fine to me, but it's more about like asking the question.
Yeah.
Like, well, why do you curse so much?
Yeah.
Like, why do you? Because then you got to think about it. To me, that's more of an engagement.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where I'm asking the question, and then you're thinking about it, and you're telling me something. So now I can combat you on that. You know?
Right.
As you're talking, like, isn't that Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what Jesus did? Like, he really made you think.
Yeah.
Making you engage.
Yeah.
By speaking. Not.
Yep.
In parables. And what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
So making you think and making you want to know.
Yeah. And I think like what you were saying with the expert thing and how we've been raised up in the schooling that we've had, it causes you to like get into that judgment zone where, all right, they know what they're talking about. Let me shut up, or they know what they're talking about, but I could care less about what they're talking about. So I can't wait till they shut up. So let me shut up so they can shut up.
Yeah.
Like, my point is that, does that make sense?
I mean, it does.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
My point though is that like we turn off,
Yeah.
right? And then we think, oh well, they must know what they're talking about,
Right.
but then we just leave it to them,
Right.
And then we never take any responsibility on, and then that leads us to being very neglectful to ourselves, being very neglectful to our families, being very neglectful to our country. Now we don't take responsibility for anything, and we give up all our responsibilities.
Well, here's the deeper aspect of that, which is why conversations like this are important. This is what we're talking about in general, but there is a tactic by the people in charge to make it so that we behave that way. And that's the thing that we try to wake people up to, is like, this is by design.
Yeah,
It is by design.
Because the longer that we're asleep and that we care about, we care more about the stats for the 76ers than our children's schooling, like, or what's going on at the school board, or what's going on in the government, or what's going on with this border bill that they tried to sneak under the table. We'll talk about that a little bit later. If we care more about those things, we spend all of our time focusing on that, listening to sports talk radio, so we can argue with the host. You know, that's
or watching all the Grammys,
watching the Grammys,
or Oscars,
caring about debating at the barbershop about who's the best rapper. You know what I mean? Like, these are the distractions that they want us to be, bogged down with, so that we're not focusing on what matters.
And to add to that, I would say, the Bible says it's simple. Study to show yourself approved, right? Mm-hmm. So when you believe in the concept or the idea of an expert, you could just revert back to them. Mm-hmm. And all you're essentially doing is just vomiting what they've said.
Yeah.
You haven't studied anything. They've given you a narrative. You've trust in them. So even with the Bible, it's telling you, go read it for yourself so you can be approved by studying the word. Mm-hmm. It's not telling you, believe everything the pastor said. It doesn't say, and believe everything the pastor says. It's telling you, study. You should study that. Because there may be spirits that come along that you have to test.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Paul says, imitate me as I imitate Christ. Mm-hmm. So he's literally showing you the way. Like, I'm going to show you, but you have to do the research. You have to pay attention to what I'm doing. You have to pay attention to my hypocrisy. Mm-hmm. I just saw something. I mean, this is old news, but I saw something about like the amount of. They were talking about is this NBA or NFL? The amount of
I saw this.
Yeah.
Of
DIYs.
Oh yeah.
DIYs, domestic violence,
Bad checks wrote. Bankruptcies.
Bad credit.
DUIs, you mean?
DIYs.
But all these things, it was like, oh, this is the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Right?
These are all
This
political
is your house.
This is the Congress.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it's like 60-something people can't even have bad credit. Like, it's kind of crazy, you know? But it goes right back to like, they're the experts.
Yeah.
Right? They're the ones that are running this country, and so many people have just listened to them,
right,
and just said, "Oh, well, they said it, so it must be true." And we're finding out, no, you got to check their hand.
Yep.
You know.
Let me give a shout out to Emma. He said, "Greetings, guys." Emma is one of our longest Patreon members, man. That guy's been supporting since we were at the office with the old camera setup and everything. And
Emma's coming to the winery. You coming to the winery?
Yeah, he actually got his tickets today.
Oh, nice.
I posted it up in the soccer group, and he went on there and got his tickets. So we'll see him over there. Nice. Shout out to Lynette Jackson, said hello. Jeffrey said, I'm convinced that at the majority of the senators and congressmen are paid off. You know how you know they are lying? Their mouths are moving. That is a fact.
And shout out to Courtney, too. She said, hey, family.
Yeah, I already did.
Oh, you? Oh.
Yeah.
My bad.
But it's all
she
good.
She gets 2 shout outs.
She deserves 2 shout outs, man. We love Courtney to death. Okay, so let's get into this first topic. So we've talked about Sexy Red on here. I read her lyrics to Pound Town.
To Jake's chagrin.
To Jake's chagrin.
This is when she was first coming out, right?
This is when she was first
So
coming
Jake
out.
read the lyrics.
I read the lyrics to
channeling
Pound
his
Town.
inner Ben Shapiro.
Jake was definitely like, what is this? So why are we talking about this?
I don't think I ever heard the song.
You never heard the song Pound Town?
No.
Yeah, huh?
He read it right there. You were sitting right there.
You read it, but
Oh, you've never
I
heard
don't
the
know
song.
if I
Okay.
ever
yeah, you would
heard.
be. Yeah.
You don't need to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't.
So she went viral because she had a baby shower. She's pregnant. Her baby daddy and her had a baby shower, and she had to do it for the culture.
That's not
So,
my baby daddy.
This was the photo shoot that kind of went viral. Mom, can you pull this up? She said, "My bad if my booty stink."
What the heck? Come on, man.
So
That's so nasty.
this is what's being pushed to the youth. Now we've seen videos go viral of young kids.
I have seen it. Yes.
She's been at multiple high schools where the administration booked her to come to the schools.
That is true.
Middle schools. We've seen young children. The girl went viral who was the dance teacher who was talking about how the young 5-year-old kids don't
seen
want
that
to
too, yeah.
listen to ballet music. They want to listen to Pound Town when they do they want to listen to Ski Yee and Pound Town when they're doing their dance classes because their parents are playing this for them.
Okay.
So Candace Owens did a video where she was breaking down like, all right, I've been hearing about the Sexy Red. People been asking me to cover it. So I did a little research. She went into who was the people behind her, who's pushing her. So I'm going to play a little bit of that so we can kind of see.
Wow. I'm already interested.
Yeah.
Joe
who
Biden?
platformed this young woman, actually, who is the record company or the media conglomerate that's behind her. And it turns out that first it was an independent record that picked her up in 2021, but then in 2023, and the reason why she's starting to gain so much popularity, a media company called Gamma began distributing her music. And Gamma has a lot of power. I'll tell you why Gamma has a lot of power. Because the two individuals that started Gamma, one of them came out of Apple. His name is Larry Jackson. And the second one of them came from Interscope Records. He has a ton of clout in the record community, the music community industry, so to speak. And his name is Ike Youssef. Okay, let's keep going down this. Let's
And I just want to point out, like, how many times do we hear about these labels that are started by one black guy and one Jewish guy? Like, how many times? So you got Larry Jackson. Was she named Larry Jackson? I think.
I think so. Yeah.
And Yusuf.
Something Yusuf.
Yeah.
You know he's
Started a label called Gamma.
You sure? That,
you know he's
Well,
black. Jackson.
Huh? Oh yeah.
You
She's
know.
gonna get into it.
Okay.
He's black for sure.
let's keep following this. Ike Youssef, people might want to stand out and say, okay, who is this guy? Now, when I hear the name Youssef, it instantly signals to me that this person is either Muslim or Jewish, Arab perhaps, the Youssefs that I know in my life. And that's curious because I remain convinced that a Muslim exec and a Jewish exec would never put a Muslim and a Jewish artist that was putting this sort of music on the airwaves onto their platforms. And by the way, that's not their fault. A lot of times you want to blame, what does that mean? No. Okay. Why would you want to get to the top and then harm your own community? It's ridiculous that you don't blame them for that.
But they don't deserve. Only thing I don't agree with here is they don't deserve any blame though. Like you can't blame people who would push that on another community. They're supposed to just be able to get rich.
You can hold them accountable.
That's what I'm saying. Like not blame,
Yeah,
but at
yeah.
least say like they have some
Yeah. I mean, ignorance is ignorant. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't know any better. If you're focusing on, it might be wrong what you're doing, but if you don't know any better, if that's what you're used to.
Or maybe they do know better. They don't know.
They
to
just-
do it
They're
to their
doing it
community.
on purpose.
like she said, they wouldn't do it to their community.
I was talking about Sexy Red.
Oh yeah, no. I'm talking about the label execs that are funding this.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
she
yeah.
she didn't blow up like this overnight out of nowhere. Like she's been pushed through big money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's been pushed through big money. Like the dude, she'll get into it. Let's keep going.
But the second person, Larry Jackson, who I mentioned before, is black. And he is the person that I am more interested in. Here is a headline regarding Larry Jackson. He's celebrated, obviously. He's a black entrepreneur. And the Billboard headline reads, with Gamma, Larry Jackson is putting $1 billion to work for black culture. Here's another headline. This one is in Afro Tech News. It reads, Larry Jackson is on a mission to put $1 billion to work in favor.
You see how to work is in quotes? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And why are they using that language? Always be aware of language, guys. I say this over and over again. They frame things in certain ways because legally it gets them out of trouble. And also they can always feign responsibility if something goes bad or,
Sure.
All right.
Favor of black culture with his startup Gamma. In favor of black culture. He's the face, by the way. More about him. He's the one who recently married Stephanie Shepard, Kim Kardashian's former assistant. So he's very much in the mix. He's very good friends with Oprah Winfrey. And the black community loves him, by the way. So many photos of him with artists, black artists. Snoop Dogg loves him. He is celebrated by the black community. Not like me, oh my gosh, God forbid Candace Owens calling this stuff out. This guy who is making an executive decision to distribute this music to the black community is a hero. And so I got even more interested in him. I just wanted to hear him talk. Man, maybe this is the kind of music that he grew up with and he loves it. Not the vibe I got. Here is him speaking to Ariana Huffington in an interview. Take a listen.
Have you ever had any mentors who helped you along this life journey, the things that we're discussing here?
Yeah, my mom and dad, first and foremost, they were the first, for sure. And still, my mom and dad immediately come to mind.
Because they helped you put things in perspective.
In the African-American household, to have two parents who've been married for 45 years is a very unusual thing.
This guy looked like he grew up listening to Mozart. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who is banging Sexy Red in his car. But
he's definitely the kind of guy whose parents are married that long. You know a little bit more.
Especially
you didn't grow up in ignorance.
Yeah,
because it takes knowledge to be able to have a household. So he definitely knows something.
Really, find to be unique and special and the spine and the backbone of my life. So their wisdom and also like the freedom and the latitude that they gave me at such an early age. I don't even know why they even did really at all, but they did. Just to be me was the initial mentorship that I needed to really kind of get to the first few points that were pretty vital and important.
So what did we learn in that clip? Well, we learned that Larry Jackson came from a two-parent home, a stable household. Parents married for 45 years. I did some more digging. He went to Catholic school. He ran cross country. He worked hard from the time that he was young. He was winning awards because he had an interest as he was working in radio, got his foot through the door, did everything right in life so that when he got to the top, he could feed the community filth, absolute filth. And so I reserve a special kind of hatred for these sorts of individuals because they are somehow celebrated by the black community. Me, no. Candace Owens is a coon.
Okay,
she's a traitor to her.
So that's the guy behind pushing Sexy Red out there to the black community. So, what do we think? Why is it that we have a culture that wants to celebrate that type of behavior when you don't see that sickness in many other cultures? It's just like something going on in this culture where it's like we want to celebrate that and we want to buy it up and give me more of it. It's almost like the people that can't get enough McDonald's. Like it's like, I don't know, something about it. Like, because when you listen to the songs, they're not even good. So why is it? I can't for the life of me understand why this stuff is so popular.
Yeah.
It's like a poison going through the generations and the people and the children.
Yeah.
It's something that happens gradually. It's not something that just comes, it has to happen gradually. And that's what's been going on. It's when you see how you see this extreme right now, right? With Sexy Red. Mm-hmm. And I'll even say not just with, the look, the words, but even the music, like in terms of how bad it is.
Yeah.
It has to get toned down or dumbed down over time. It can't just happen.
Right.
And we've been through the music industry, and we've been through how many countless studios and how many countless producers, and just seen how just from my own experience watching these guys work and how they think they're doing something crazy amazing and doing something nobody else is doing, but it's just basic stuff.
Right.
Like I'm just talking about on the production side.
Right.
And it's just like one after the other. Like you have to keep that persona where you think you're not knowledgeable, but you're knowledgeable enough to get by.
Right.
To me, that's what's going on a lot of times.
Yeah.
You're knowledgeable enough to get by, but really nobody's checking your hand because nobody cares about checking your hand. They just want it to work. And I think back to
what's that? What is that? What is happening?
Laffy Taffy.
Oh,
Laffy Taffy.
Laffy Taffy.
Like the track
Yeah.
on
It sounded
dude?
like we said it at the time. Like, yo, it sounds like a Casio.
It was literally
that era of music is what jumped off like the trap sound.
Yeah.
And like everything that has become
but
music
it
now.
becomes acceptable to do whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And then people thinking like, well, it's different. Like to me, that's what we grew up in, that era of like, oh, you ain't up on.
Yeah.
Kanye West said it.
Yeah. Right.
Just to be like,
Yeah.
nigga, you ain't up on this.
Yeah, right.
That's what people cared about. Like, I'm different, but
Right.
you're different because you just want to be different. And then it becomes like you think you're being different. You know how many times I've heard people get in the studio and sing a melody and they think they're singing something different, and because your ear is a little bit heavy musician talk, but it's actually light for us. But when you sing, you get used to certain melodies, and if you're not stretching yourself, then you're gonna just get caught up in singing the same melodies.
Yep.
And if you don't know music, then you're just gonna sing those melodies. And if you just change one note that you're saying in one place and put it over here at the beginning instead of at the end, it sounds different, but you're singing the same thing.
And people that don't know music won't hear it, so they can be fooled as well. Like
Right.
there's people that we know that have great vocal ability to do like these riffs.
Right.
But they can only do the same 3 riffs.
Right.
And they do them over and over again in a song. And you're like, okay, it's the same trick over and over.
But they don't know it
Right.
because they're not challenged. I used to do vocal lessons, and I used to deal with that with a lot of people. Like, I had some people who sang good, but the moment you like challenge them, now they become a ball of like, they don't know what to do.
Right.
They become insecure. They start because they're used to putting the show forward, right? What they want to put their best foot forward. But when you like to get better, because think about it, if you grew up and you always had a good voice or a pretty good voice, then you can get by and not really know music. You know what I mean? You can get by and not really understand music. But when you get challenged on that, and especially like if you're doing vocal lessons and you're like, all right, let's try to do this, and you can't do it, and let's do this, and you can't do it, and I'm like, no, but it's all right. You don't have to know what you're doing,
Right.
Because you never did this before,
Right.
So don't even try to take that away. Like, but some people can't even get past that. They can't even get past the point of like, oh my God, I'm
is
so
something I can't
exposed
do.
right now.
Yeah, right.
Like they're thinking so much on that they quit.
And it's like you wouldn't see that in something else. Like if you're going to the gym, because vocal coaching is kind of like working out. You're
Yeah.
working out those muscles to understand how to breathe and use your vocal cords properly, use your chest and diaphragm, and sometimes you use your neck, sometimes you use your head, sometimes you shape your mouth different ways to get out different notes, different tones.
Yeah.
And you learn that way. It's just like when you're in the gym and you want to get that certain muscle in the bicep, or you want to get that little trap right here. There's different exercises that you got to do. And sometimes if it's an exercise you never did before, your form is going to be off. You're going to be awkward with it. You might be weak and you need to build that up.
Yeah.
But if you're so insecure that you're like, oh, I'm just not going to work out anymore because I can't do that one workout real good. So let me just stop. You know what I mean? I got good at this workout over here, but now I'm exposed. Now I feel insecure at the gym.
Yeah. And you're not just working out. Like, it's not like when you're singing, it's not like you're just working out your voice. You have to work out your ear too.
That's true.
So you're learning, because you're growing your ear in terms of what you hear. Sometimes you play a note. There's a lot of people can't even sing the note back to you.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, I can sing pretty good. Like, I remember listening to Mary J. Blige, and like she was like pretty bad at like just singing
In key.
a cappella.
Yeah.
Like just singing off the cuff in key. She would go into like 3 different keys sometimes,
right.
because her ear wasn't that good. Now she could sing in terms of her tone.
Yeah.
But then when you're not singing in a tonal center,
Right.
which is like a key, you're going off into different keys, right? And she just didn't know. Like she needed more training, right?
Right.
Maybe she got it. I don't know, because I don't really listen to her. But my point is that, like, people, when nobody really knows, and then you got a bunch of people around you that don't know,
Yeah.
and then the people listening to you don't know, don't care, why would you get any better?
Yeah.
And then when you cultivate that generation after generation, which is what we're seeing, like I saw that back in the 90s, right? Now you go, people didn't care back then. Now you get deeper and deeper and deeper into it, right? Back in the 60s, in the 70s, what did they have? Artist development.
Right.
Right? You develop an artist. You develop them musically.
Yeah.
You develop them in other ways. Now, I'm not saying that all of that is good, but like all of it, I'm saying like how they would develop them.
Yeah, because a lot of it just became like a phony
Factories.
Yeah,
like,
it was like a polished factory presentation of an artist. Here you
Right.
go, nice and shiny for you.
Right.
Yeah. But
I was-
on
but-
that same analogy, real quick before you go, on that same analogy, have you ever seen them videos that go viral of like other countries? One of them is India, where people are just like cooking out in the streets and it's disgusting. They're like spitting in the food.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like rubbing stuff under their
Yeah.
arms. So that's what you're talking about. Like, how does that cooking industry go from the standard that we have here to all the way to that? It's from generation to generation of people not caring.
Yeah.
And then it just degenerates over time. And that's what we're seeing with the music.
Yep. And what's the bottom line? It's making money.
Yeah.
If it's making money, then why change anything?
I see the music too, but why has it gotten so bad? Like, in another aspect of it, like the depravity of it, like glorifying, this guy has, his nose in her butt, and
I think that's what he's saying though, because
Same thing,
it's
yeah.
incremental. It's incremental changes over time. So people realize, okay, this person blew up because they like Nicki Minaj blew up because she got butt injections and started dressing provocative and wearing wigs but she could rap really good, but she blew up because of the other things, right? So then after behind her, you get all these people from Love and Hip Hop trying to be her. You get a Cardi B who's pushing stripper culture on top of that.
You're right.
She blows up because
and they all came from Little Kim. Little
Right.
Kim was like the same type of.
Lil Kim and Foxy Brown. Their lyrics were very raunchy, talking about, well, they were written by men. So men were telling them, if you rap like this, dudes will buy your albums. You know what I mean? Not knowing that it also is going to brainwash young girls to think this is how you're supposed to act. So but they could actually rap because their raps were being written by Jay-Z, Biggie, all these people. So they could actually rap. So then you get into later on, Nicki Minaj ups the ante, but she could actually rap, and she was writing her own stuff. I mean, I'm sure other people helped her out here and there, but she was writing her own stuff. But then you get like a Cardi B, and then you really saw it to kind of fall off a cliff after that, because she went so far into stripper culture and just not caring. So and people started realizing that, oh, if you want to blow up and make money, you got to be worse than her. You know what I mean? You gotta do more, be willing to do more than she will do. Then you get the city girls. You get.
But I think that this is about the children, and I don't know anything about what is her name, Sexy Red.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about her, but you guys said that young people watch them, right?
Yeah.
So think about it. If they're watching that photo with that guy up her butt, they think that's okay, and this is just for the kids to think it's okay so they can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they want
Yeah.
to destroy our generation, the
But
younger generation.
but why? But again, how do you know? How do you know that that's happening? How do you know that? How do you know as a grown up of kids not to let these things into your house, right? Not to let this music into your house, these things into your house. How do you know? And when we have our own issues and we draw into ourselves from culture, and we're like, I don't want to face this. I don't want to face that. You know, I'm just going to take care of my own family and I'm not going to worry about them. Like, even in terms of how we live in America, everybody, you know, the whole keeping up with the Joneses type thing, like where we're all, you got to go to work. You're working. Everybody's working 40 hours a week. You don't got time for your kids. Kids are in daycare. Like, you're so focused on work that you have no time to cook for your kids. You're not. All it does is it takes you out of your kid's life. It takes you out of a family structure. It takes you out of your wife's life. You're not putting that foundation first with your wife, right? A husband and a wife. Not only that, then you're focused on these other things. It's not as important. Now you got multiple wives, right? You've been married 3-4 times. Or then what's even worse from that, you never even had a wife to begin with. You just had got a bunch of baby moms, right? That's where it gets even worse. So it degenerates, and it makes me think about Hebrews, like where he's talking to them about like these things with God. The guy of Hebrews who's talking to the Hebrews, right? And the Hebrews at that time, they were getting, they were coming after them, right? For being Christians. And they were like being persecuted for a while.
Yeah.
So they're dealing with this persecution. And now a lot of them, they're starting to go back to following the law because it's just easier for them because they're getting persecuted by their own people. It's easier for me to just go back to being a regular Jew and follow the law. And, you know, maybe this is what Jesus wants me to do. See how you're perverting things, right? Because it's easier. It's more comfortable. And I think that's what we take on comfort, right? The things that make us feel comfortable in our flesh. Right, and that's what happens when we get more money, because this country has excess, right? How is it that Black Americans are like the biggest consumers in America, but yet they're the smallest percentage of Americans,
and also the lowest economically.
Right.
Yeah.
That stuff ain't working out. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Math ain't
Math ain't
mathin'. It's not working. It doesn't make sense. So you giving yourself over to consumerism. But why? Because you're trying to receive comfort for what you're in. And that causes you to not be able to deal with things. So then he's talking, going back to the person who's I don't know who's talking to the Hebrews, but in Hebrews, but in Hebrew 5, he wants to talk to them about these things that he's like, I can't really talk to you guys about this because you should be teaching about this stuff yet. But because you backtracked and you wanted to be more comfortable, now you can't deal with this meat I want to give you, right? You got to deal with milk. And meat is and this is key, meat is for those who by use have their senses exercised. So even think about like when you exercise your rights, by use you have your senses exercised, and then it says being able to discern good from evil. So see how you have to be able to engage with people. But when you like, oh, they're just this. oh, they're just that. They just crazy. Like, don't mess with her. She's just like that. Like, when you start to come up with these ideas, first of all, you only care about yourself. You don't really care about the other person. Community breaks down because true community is about caring for one another, right? So community breaks down. Everybody becomes selfish. You're selfish in your own house. Trust is lacking. The community breaks down in a way where trust is lacking, so everybody's stealing from one another, right? And now you're dealing. This is the culture we're talking about.
Right.
This is the breakdown of it. But it's because people are cowards and they want to be comfortable in their cowardness, right? And it causes you not to be able to take on the meat because the meat's too much.
Right.
Oh. Like when people talk about, we're talking about stuff that if I was to go and really talk about this to people in those communities, which I do sometimes, I'll engage a little bit.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard
to take,
for them because it's too much to take.
Right.
You got to give them a little bit.
I was gonna say this. 2 points. I heard this a while ago. Sports entertainment is a poor person's road to riches, and these record executives. By the way, this guy's talking, you can tell he's educated.
He worked at Apple.
Right.
You know.
The second thing is, when you look at someone like a Sexy Red or people like that, these people, these record executive types, there's a psychology and they understand that young people are rebellious by nature, and that's in every generation. That's since the dawn of time. Children are naturally rebellious
In every culture too.
in every culture. That's not just specific to Black Americans or Americans. That's just throughout all cultures are like that. And I think there's the psychology aspect is they understand that when they make music like this, it's going to draw a certain attention, and if they make it infamous and they make it, the more ridiculous it is now, and especially in America, because we are the entertainment capital of the world.
Right.
The more ridiculous it is, and the more eyeballs it is, the more they'll sell. The ironic thing, though, is weird. Someone made a point that I was like, yeah, that's true. As much as they're pushing Lil Nas X and this young lady, no one has ever recorded a sold-out concert in arena style.
Right.
What it is, these things are, because if she was truly a big artist, she wouldn't have time to go to no middle school.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why it's big money being pushed to prop her up.
That's what I'm getting to. So it tells you the people who are saying, this is another idiot young kids. No, there is a plan here,
Right.
to push a certain agenda and music and ideology and the way you think, the way you dress.
A psyop, if you will.
Yeah, a psyop, if you will. Yeah, push that because
So Taylor Swift is for the whites. Sexy
She
Red
is.
is for the blacks.
she is, and they do this. They do this intentionally because they understand the rebellious nature of kids. Now, the thing is, because slowly in America, the breakdown of family, especially the two-parent nuclear family, has been destroyed. It's very easy for young boys and young girls to be pulled astray because there's not that sense of guidance there. Remember when you guys, me as a young man, my father saying, don't listen to that. There's not enough of that. And I think even then, parents stop when they say don't listen to, because like he was saying earlier, you got to ask why.
Yeah.
And you got to engage with them and not just tell them shut it off, because you have to show them why it's poison.
Yep.
And it's not enough of that is done. Even Sexy Red, I don't even think she knows what she's saying. When she raps, she's more talking than anything else.
Yeah.
I don't even think she knows what she's saying. You know, she doesn't really put all of that together.
You know what I do with my kids, especially Elise, because she's 13 going on 14. She's middle school age, and I know like her influences in school are gonna be vast. You know what I mean?
Right.
So every time something like this comes up, I show it to her, and I'm like, look at how ridiculous this is. So now she'll come to me and be like, look at this. This is you know, what is this? You know what I
Versus
mean?
if you just say to her, this is stupid,
Yeah.
you've made her curious.
Right.
You know what I mean? And yes, it is. But by not giving her a chance to express certain things.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to help her work out the order.
Yes.
There's an order.
Right.
You know?
And by constantly showing her like a lot of people are asleep and they're gonna they're gonna just form into these these massive cliques of mental thought. Don't be a part of that. You know what I
Right.
mean? And when you can explain that to them and they start seeing it happen in school with like, because she tells me about it, like everyone has Stanley Cups, everyone is dressed in a certain way, everyone likes certain kind of music, you know, and it's one of them things that we can talk about. Like, you see what I was saying? You know what I mean? Don't fall into those things. Stay focused on what you're doing. You know, that's something that is a trap.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I would say this though. I have seen, like I said, for me, what I do is, and I've said this to you guys before, whenever I see these videos, I go to the comments.
Yeah.
Because the comments, the video is one thing because it's meant to grab you and how they shoot it, how it's edited. But if you go to the comments, especially if it's not turned off, if you go to the comments, you can gauge the temperature.
Right.
I had not seen anything positive from the black community about her.
Well, you think about it. You're going to the comments for people that are pointing it out as a bad thing. So their audience is already going to be skewed to make fun of it. Go to the comments of her post of it
Right.
and see how many people are praising it.
Yeah, and it could be. There could be that, but I like that though it's being pushed, there's another side of it that people are pointing out how ridiculous it is. You know what I mean? Versus in the 90s when there was just PR, you would just see there was the 90s and the early 2000s, there was no room for any kind of pushback on this. So at least I'm happy that people are pushing back. And even though it's a video of where it's skewed in anti that kind of music, at least it's available.
Right.
Versus in the 90s, there's no negative. You crazy?
Yeah.
People push back, but you know, there wasn't the internet where you can have a voice, you know, to comment. That's actually my favorite part. Is the comments. I love going to the comments and seeing all the funny stuff.
So I want to pose something to you guys too about this though, because we're looking at this guy Larry Jackson. Grew up in a good family. He's a businessman. He worked at Apple. He started this organization. Who knows who's behind that whole thing and how he has access to $1 billion to put towards the black culture, right? But
in quotes,
right? But so maybe he sees this as just a way to profit, right? Maybe he sees this as, oh, this is how you make money. This is an artist that I believe in. I can push her and make money, build my business off of this. I have a record label. What is the difference between what he's doing and like a Nino Brown, for example?
Right.
What's the difference? You're talking about someone who's profiting off of pushing something degenerative to the culture, to their own people.
Yeah, but acting like you're doing something good.
Right.
Difference is it's legal.
That's the only difference.
Yeah.
So because it's legal, it's seen as acceptable.
Yeah.
Right? But if you know you're openly destroying your community, and a community that I think it's even worse because Nino Brown lived in the projects, you know what I mean, with the people. Well, he did end up getting a big house, but you know, he was part of the community. This guy, not so much. Like, I don't think he's gonna let his kids listen.
He probably never lived in the community.
Yeah, or probably doesn't listen to Sexy Red when he's in his car, or let his kids listen to it.
But he's black.
Yeah.
So, and you said comes from a good family, and I just would be like, okay, show me, because the family's together, doesn't mean they're necessarily good. It's a good family, and maybe they were good at staying together, and they were good at finances, right? But that doesn't mean that was a good family. He said something else that was telling. He said, my family gave me a lot of freedom
to be me.
And that's like, that could go
a
bunch of ways, you know? So like, there's a lot.
What that usually means.
Right. So
nowadays.
Shout out to Lisa Sloan, said, hey, beautiful family, blessings and positive vibes. Yes.
Lisa.
What's up, Lisa?
Hey.
So maybe that's another thing that you could throw in there, like how he grew up, a great point. And where his family, like,
we say good family in the standards of
this world, it's like, well, if you're successful, that's good,
and if you're married,
well, that's connected to the success, right? Because back in the day, they look at like if you're a good businessman, you got a wife and you know,
Yeah,
like all these
right.
things, they're all connected, but they're not. You're like I'm saying they make the correlation.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's easy to flip that. And that I think that's even the bigger that's the bigger meat of like what am I gonna digest or take in? Because a lot of these people who he's selling to and who are gonna take in a sexy red, the people who notice like this is some BS, it's not hard to see.
Yeah.
It's a little harder to see that he's not, or like an Obama, right? It's harder to tell. It's harder to discern. See what I mean? These things. It's harder to discern for people to Beyonce versus her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though it's kind of obvious to us.
To us, yeah.
But, or you could say it's harder to discern somebody who is saying they're a Christian and they're singing gospel
in the music
music
ministry,
and
they're up there,
Right.
yeah.
but yet they live in a double life.
Right.
Like it's harder to discern these things.
Yeah.
If you are correlating the wrong things together, if you're connecting the wrong things together. So this is why, again, like how are you exercising your senses? What are
Yeah.
you putting into use? Because a lot of times we put into use our defense mechanism because we don't want to get got. Like we don't want to get caught up in something. I don't want to be duped, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna focus on that. But no, the way you're not duped is that you focus on God. The way you're not duped is more than anything. Oh well, they got me on that. Like I gotta give it to you, God, because I realized that no matter how much I thought I had it in check, and I thought I knew what I was talking about, I didn't.
Yeah.
And there could be another element to this too, where I think, kind of being suspicious of the way things are set up. I would say they know that the era of the Playboy, very eccentric artists, label producer, dancing, individuals pouring champagnes, bling bling. They know that's coming to an end.
That's over.
They know it's done.
Yeah.
So what would be an angle to show Black America that the person behind this is wholesome, comes from a good family? He's not, because if you had like a P. Diddy producer here, he'd be like, oh yeah, that's just another.
Yeah.
But if you could show him he's interviewing a middle-aged white woman, she's asking him about his family background. Those are
Right.
not questions people typically ask those kind of people.
Yeah.
They don't really care. It's no one's sitting there asking Jimmy Iovine, so Jimmy, how
Yeah.
long have your parents been married?
right.
And where did you go to
They're
school?
specifically asking that.
They're
to drive
asking
a
those
point
questions
home. Yeah.
for a reason.
Yeah.
So could it be that what they're trying to do is they know that the pushback is going to be, who's behind this music? Well, if we show a well-educated, great speaking, a linguist, Black guy who comes from a good family, no one can charge him with like the Nino Brown thing that you're talking about. Because then people say, no, he's not a Nino Brown. He is a good guy. He comes from a good family. He's essentially nice. He's good for the community.
Right.
He just happens to be a producer.
Right.
There's no videos of him pouring champagne on a naked girl or
Right.
something like that. Where that, like I said, that producer type, the Suge Knights, the P. Diddy, the
Guys with the rap sheets. and
yeah,
the-
those guys, that's done.
Right.
So this is more of a businessman type. So we're gonna interview him and talk
a
about
tech guy. Yeah.
Right, she didn't ask him no question about music. How does he know this stuff? She's talking about I feel like what it is. It's part of it is to set up, to disarm people from looking any further.
Right.
It could be that too.
Could
Could be that angle. It's kind of. It reminds me very Theranos, Elizabeth Holmes ish.
Yeah.
Where it's like we want to convince you that this is a genius, Tony Stark, Steve Jobs businesswoman.
Right.
And what I feel is happening now is when you see these sit downs with the introduction of this new producer, this new virtuoso, if you will.
Right.
If you see that, it's like, no one asked for this.
Right.
Who is sitting around wondering, hey, who's producing Sexy Red's music?
Yeah.
We got to know that guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think it could be them understanding very much that people are
Well,
going to ask.
To be fair, I think the interview with the Huffington lady was about his $1 billion towards the Black community. It
Right.
wasn't about his music producing.
Right. And she never, hopefully the interview is longer, but she never asked what he's going to do with that money.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we
was
gotta
curious.
check it out.
Yeah,
We gotta
I
check
gotta
it
check
out.
it out.
But yeah, Let me show you guys. So this is another video that kind of went viral with Sukiana. She's one of Sexy Red's contemporaries, if you will. You guys know who Sukiana is?
I've heard the name.
Nope.
Remember that clip of the song "Hands on Your Knees"? Wasn't that her song?
It was.
Hands on your knees, hands on your knees.
Oh, you know that song?
Isn't it popular or something? Didn't we play it or something?
Us?
Yeah.
What? No. Did we show the clip of the little kids at the school singing it with the karaoke machine?
I
I think
heard
that was Sexy Red.
Was that Sexy Red?
Yeah, that was Sexy Red.
Let that coochie breathe?
yeah.
That's her.
Oh, well, Sukiana is another. I think hers is the Ski song. What on them?
Ski
Anyway.
what? Ski what?
Nothing.
I
Let's
don't
watch
know
this.
what that means.
No, we were just talking about music. We were talking about the degeneration of music. We're talking about the craft of it. Now listen, watch this interview clip.
What do you know?
That you're a musician. But that's why I'm interviewing you today, so I can get to know you.
So I'm a musician. What the fuck that mean? Make magic or something? What is musician?
I think you're confusing that.
Yeah, I'm not no musician.
I
I make music. I make music. And that's not all I do. I make music, I act. I'm a TV star too, a young mogul.
Just really quick, I think you're confusing.
I'm not confusing nothing because you don't know. You thought that all I was a magician or whatever the fuck you said.
See, that's what I think you think I said. I said musician, not magician.
I don't think, baby. I don't think. What is that? That's ghetto. I don't think. I know.
So you
Think.
I didn't say magician, Suki. I said musician.
See how hard it is to talk to somebody like that?
Yeah.
Like, she said, I don't think. Do you see the hypocrisy in that?
She said, "I don't think that's ghetto." Not knowing that everything about her right now is ghetto as hell. Like everything her nails, her jewelry, the hair, everything.
And I think you are a musician.
No, baby. I do music.
So you just really quick for the record, could you say you don't think you're a musician?
I'm not none of that.
But then after that, you just said I do music.
Yeah, I do music.
So in other words, you're a musician.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Dude.
Why so hostile?
Well, she's
Like,
right.
why-
She's not a musician, technically.
Technically, she's not, but come on. She thought she was calling her a magician, bro.
Wow.
She could have said, "No, I'm a rapper." That'd
Yeah.
been.
I find it a little bit offensive when rappers call themselves musicians.
That's what I'm saying. She's unknowingly and ignorantly saying the right thing.
Right.
She's not a musician.
But she didn't even mean that. She
You
said
gotta have some
magician.
kind of musical skill to put words in bars and in the time.
Well, there's always the joke that like, there's a bunch of musicians in a band and then there's drummers. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's
But
that
it's-
joke because
but there's still
drummers don't play music. They just play rhythm.
yeah, but
You
the
know what I
rhythm
mean?
is music. Like
Yeah.
it's still music.
Kind of.
But is a rapper a musician, though?
There's a gray area because music entails melody,
Right.
harmony, notes. Like when you study music theory, there's rhythm involved.
Yeah.
But it's
part of it.
three elements: rhythm, melody, harmony.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're only doing rhythm, you're missing two elements.
But
Right.
what I'm saying is, if you don't play an instrument, are you a musician?
Yeah, because singers are musicians.
Okay.
Singers are musicians. I mean, you have to have musical ability to sing.
But the funny thing is, she thought she said she was a magician.
Yeah.
And the magician she is, because she...
But this girl that does this video, though, she does that like kind of weird.
Yeah, she does those
So
weird
this could have
sat-
been like some kind of quirky skit.
It could have been, but I don't think so, bro.
No.
I think she like
I've seen
it's
she's
kinda like,
always awkward in these interviews
because
with
it's
people.
kind of like the
her
Zach.
thing.
It's like the Zach Galifianakis
Yeah, Two
between
Ferns,
two
Between Ferns,
ferns.
yeah.
It's that same kind of shtick where it's like we're gonna have a hostile interview,
Mm-hmm.
but where she took it is the funny part because she said you're a musician, and she said no, I'm not. You know
Because
what
I
mean?
don't think she wanted to sound that stupid, but
Right.
maybe she did. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be hostile like that?
Yeah. That it's like we said, between two ferns. You ever see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Her
It's
shtick
actually
is
kinda funny.
her interviews are like that, like where didn't she do one with Drake that like really blew up? That was like the
Yeah.
biggest one,
Yeah.
and people got super mad about it.
They were in a bed.
Yeah,
Like, kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like quirky,
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
but anyway, that's the culture of that what we're seeing in rap culture. I mean, we talked about, I don't know if we talked about it on here, but me and you talked about all the clips of people talking about the BT Awards. And I think there was another one, Soul Train Award or something, where it was just like, yo, the level of buffoonery that was going on at these awards has got to stop.
Right.
Like the way you're representing
Yeah.
black people is becoming crazy.
The great thing is that their ratings are terrible.
Yeah.
It's not probably going to be on too much longer. They're not pulling any ratings.
Does anybody know how the Grammys did? I didn't watch any of it.
I didn't watch it either.
When did that happen?
I think
Sunday.
I think all of it, just award show. MTV doesn't even do one anymore.
No?
The MTV Awards, I don't think that's been on.
No. I swore they did an MTV Awards.
Remember they had like a bunch of awards?
Why are you making stuff up, James?
Probably. I mean, probably. Yeah. But I haven't seen one in years.
Yeah, MTV Awards 2024.
Oh, never mind. I canceled them. My
Hey,
bad.
man, it's not in your peer review.
Doesn't happen in
But
the
I'm just
world.
saying, like, you know, like young kids. Remember the MTV Awards? The MTV Awards at one time was bigger than the Oscars.
It was an event, yeah. Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's nowhere near as big.
But
yeah.
we gotta. I think the other, we see like her and see how bad it is, but at the same time, you gotta also have grace for people that are in this situation, people who are listening to this music, people who are caught up in this ignorance. Because
Yeah, I don't think we're condemning her. We're just, part of it is pointing out that the level of foolishness is like okayed to such a point.
Yeah.
Where it's like
We
all
should
right,
not be following these people. We should not
Right.
be listening to them. We should not.
Right.
We should not be
Glorifying
glorifying them
we
and
should
praising
not be
them,
letting our
upholding them.
kids.
Oh.
That's the worst part.
We should
for me
not
is
be
watching
letting stuff
little
in our
kids.
house.
Yes, little kids. No.
Yeah.
You know, every time my kids come out of their mouth with anything that sounds ignorant, I always challenge. Where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
Who'd you hear that from?
Right.
Like, you gotta, don't just say something. You gotta give me a thread of where that came from.
Yeah.
And because it's got to be based in something. If it's not, you can't say it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I remember Lisi asking me the other day, like, who I want to be the next president. And we were just talking about it because, you know, everyone in her, and all the young kids in her school are like regurgitating what their parents say about Trump or whatever. But she hears our conversations all the time, and she's been down here while we produce the podcast, so she kind of knows better. You know what I mean? But she's like, I let them say stuff, but I don't say nothing because I don't want to get into a debate or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, let them. A lot of those people are saying things that they have no idea what they're talking about. They're just saying what they've heard or what they think they're supposed to say, that what they think you want to hear them say, because everyone believes this, you know. So, speaking of that, let's move away from culture and music into some politics. So, another thing that happened on Sunday was they released the Democrats and the Republicans were coming together to release this border bill that was supposed to secure, the border has been crazy. People flooding in, 10,000 people a month, the record amount of people. I mean, I'm sorry, a day. 10,000 people a day.
Yeah.
A day, bro.
Wow.
So, so they were coming together because what I think happened was they started seeing how this was affecting Joe Biden's numbers, and they said, okay, we got to flip the narrative on this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come together. We're going to get a bipartisan bill together, and we're going to put a bunch of stuff in this bill that there's no way the Republicans are going to approve of this, and then that way we can blame them for not securing the border, because that's the way politics works, And of course, there's Republicans and there's Democrats that do nothing. This is what they do. They grandstand, they come up with these fake bills, they do things to pretend like they're doing government, and they're just playing around. So we got this article from AP. They looked at the border bill, and this is pull this up, Mom, please. It says senators release a border and Ukraine deal, but the House Speaker declares it dead on arrival. So Senator Sunday released a highly anticipated $118 billion package that pairs border enforcement policies with wartime aid for Ukraine, Israel, and other U.S. allies, but it quickly ran into a wall of opposition from top House Republicans, including Speaker Mike Johnson. Now, they kind of explained why in that first statement. Like, this article is going to try to blame the Republicans for why the border, like we were saying, they tried to sneak in aid for Ukraine and Israel in the bill. So the bill is for $118 billion, right? Guess how much they were trying to send to Ukraine?
Isn't it like
10 billion.
60 billion?
$62 billion.
Wow.
Of that money to Ukraine.
But how much was it total again?
$118 billion.
Oh, I thought it was, okay.
So $62 billion, over half, way over half, and then another $14 billion to Israel.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I heard on Newsmax they showed a clip of Biden already blaming Trump.
Oh, I have that clip ready to go,
Blaming
brother.
Trump.
Because that is the tactic.
He's
That is the tactic. $62 billion to, and it was in the bill, like codified into the bill.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, we're gonna do some things.
But
at
they're
the border.
calling it the border bill?
They're calling it the border bill.
So
the
he's-
border security bill.
yeah. They're not,
They meant Ukraine's border.
Biden's words saying he's blaming Trump that he don't want to fix this issue, this border issue that he caused.
Trump and MAGA Republicans.
Yeah.
That's what they went
that
into.
he caused.
Let me play a little breakdown from this guy on Twitter real quick.
Let's take a second to talk about this border bill that's in the Senate right now. Let me be clear. This border security bill that the rhinos are trying to sell you does not secure the border at all. I know, shocker. It's a complete surrender, not a compromise like they're trying to tell you it is. It allows 155,000 illegals to enter our country a month, or 1.8 million a year. And it includes $62 billion of U.S. taxpayer funding for Ukraine and $20 billion for our border. Republicans should not support a border bill until it actually secures our border. Really, this is just Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden's Ukraine funding package with a little bit extra added to say it's a border security bill.
So
Exactly what it is.
just 20 billion goes
To our border.
To our border.
And when you look at the breakdown of like what's also in the bill, there's weird things in there. Like, so they have codified in law that they're allowed to let 5,000 people a day come across the border, illegals.
They have to let them.
They have to let them, and if it exceeds that, then they can move them to a port of entry to be processed. And I found out today that minors, unaccompanied minors, don't count in that 5,000. And the Republicans, like this is the thing. Like people always see us bash the Democrats because Democrats are just crazy, especially like with a lot of the culture war stuff and like
woke ideology.
But the Republicans are just as bad, and this is why people always think, "Oh, you guys are Republican." No, we don't like the Republicans either, because they're a part of this griminess. Like some of the stuff that they were trying to, like one of they tried to argue for, let's lower it from 5,000 to 3,000 a day.
Wow.
Like, are you serious? This is what we're dealing with. This is how our political system is against us right now.
How many times did they shoot down? Did Trump have to deal with the whole wall thing?
Yeah.
Right.
Being shot down, right?
Yep.
Going through court, like his executive orders, and they going through court and then being shot
Supreme
down.
Court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he never could really get it done.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Because they kept on shooting it down, processing it, and
Trying
then,
to block it.
Nope,
Yeah.
we're not having this. And now you see, but back then, again, it was more like people were saying, what were they saying? They're all humans.
Yeah.
There's no borders.
The whole narrative
There's
was
no borders for humans.
For humans, yeah. No one is illegal.
Yeah, no one is illegal.
Concentration camps. It's xenophobic. All these things.
But now we're seeing the wisdom behind, like, and it's basic stuff again. But see what I mean? Like when we have, it goes like the sexy red. It's the same thing here.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff because when we've been so far removed and comforted to where, well, just get it done. Like, I don't want to think about this stuff. When it becomes, we're so removed from the issues that we're dealing with in our communities, in our country. You know, think about when you say country, most people don't have to deal with it, right? Country. But when it starts happening in your neighborhoods, now you're starting to realize these things are a problem. Like in our neighborhood, which I've been there for 4 years, this is the first year where I'm dealing with people trying to break into cars. Like this has happened like over the last 3 days. People have been catching
people trying to break into cars, checking for unlocked doors.
Doors. Never happened. Like the lady next to me, her door was open, all her stuff was out. Like,
wow.
So it's been happening a lot, but this stuff doesn't just get this way, right? So now when it starts coming to your neighborhood, and these things start affecting you personally, it's no longer a country issue where it's like kind of removed. It becomes personal.
And that's what you're seeing happen in all these cities.
Look what happened in New York. The cop got beat up
by and they were released by the attorney general. Then they fled
without bail.
Without bail, they fled to Arizona and got picked up by ICE because they fled. You know what I mean? But that once you see that happen, I think once that happened, that's kind of what started turning the narrative. Yeah, where people were like, okay, because so think like you said with Trump, right? What did he say? I guess they're really not sending their best.
Right.
Like, I guess they are sending, like, people are starting to see that now. People in these cities are starting to see, like, whoa, I guess they are sending some, like, a lot of these guys are gang members, thugs, robbers, rapists.
And not absolutely true. But in terms of just a facilitating aspect, there's no way all these people, like someone filmed New York, the parks, and it's covered in human waste. Yeah. Okay. Like this is sad, really, because there's no way the city can even house any of these people.
Right.
You can't. It's just massive, and for the workers or the people who are just there. Imagine having to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the guys said, whenever there's like any kind of rainfall, like massive human feces all over the place.
And that's on top of the rat feces that was everywhere.
Yeah.
But again, where were the experts?
Yeah.
Where were the experts?
They're not being held accountable.
Lying to us.
They were
saying there is no border crisis.
Right. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's a border crisis. There is no border crisis. That's what they were telling us.
Now there's a border crisis.
It's a made up imaginary MAGA right wing conspiracy.
It reminds me of COVID. Like instead of doing all the necessary things we need to prevent stuff from happening, no, just take the shot.
Yeah.
Just take this vaccine.
Yep.
After the fact, right?
This
is going to help everything.
Right.
This is going to stop all the issues, all your problems. Instead of like, no, what preventative things can we... None of that is being even talked about.
Yeah.
Where are the experts?
Right.
Where are the experts that are saying, well, here are some things you can do to prevent yourself from this happening. You can change your diet.
Yeah.
You can work
Exercise.
out. You can... There's
Get
a bunch...
some sunlight.
Yeah.
How about stop doing gain of function research at labs and all over the world? Like, how about doing that? Stop funding that. Like,
but I'm talking about like just regular people.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the people. Like, what can they do?
Yeah.
Like, there's no talk about that by the experts, at least in the media.
You know, they shut down everybody that was
right
saying stuff like that.
Yeah.
Silencing them.
But in mainstream media, silence.
I missed a comment from Jess. She said Jay-Z apparently went on a rant at the Grammys how Beyonce has never won Album of the Year. LOL, even though she has the most Grammy wins. So Kanye Wested it up there?
I did see that.
Oh, okay.
And he said it was funny. I saw something. He said I like to tell the truth when I'm nervous.
Yeah.
It was like,
So you lie when you're not nervous?
Yeah. Dude, when I saw that, I'm like, man, these people tell on themselves.
They sure do.
Even...
So you lie all the time unless you're nervous. Then you tell the truth. Okay, got you.
Are you lying now?
Yeah, but apparently we heard from someone else that was the greatest speech. You got to watch it.
You heard that from somebody?
Yeah, last night.
Who said that?
Never mind.
I don't
missed it by that much.
I missed it too.
Let's keep on this topic though. So let me go on to a little clip from Tim Pool talking about this because he wants to Al Sharpton is calling it a border crisis now.
Okay.
When outside his house.
Yeah.
When Al Sharpton speaks.
Yeah.
Such strife outside of just white neighborhoods. You've got a viral video in Boston of a black man yelling at cops that his community center has been taken over by criminal aliens who are given free money and community resources. Now, Joe Biden and the Democrats risk losing tremendous amounts of political power because of the crisis they caused. So, of course, the narrative shift was obvious. We saw this coming. Now what's happening is you've got Democrats like Al Sharpton saying it is an invasion. Joe Biden comes out and says, I want to solve this crisis, but I need a new law. And the plan was obvious. And here it is. We knew it was coming. Everybody knew this was coming. Joe Biden would say, there's a crisis. Republicans need to help. They then put out a bill, which is an amnesty bill. Oh, boy, wait till you see what's in it. One of the provisions in this amnesty bill, they're calling it a security bill, but in no way does it provide any security. It actually opens the border permanently. There's a provision saying any adjudication, judicial review, must be in D.C. There's actually a provision that says unaccompanied minors from non-contiguous countries don't count towards the total amount of migrants allotted per day, which could be upwards of 8,500 permitted, and it would grant, in certain circumstances, non-judicial review of asylum claims, meaning federal agents could just rubber stamp asylum, give cash and work permits to criminal aliens. This is not a security bill. The bill funds war in Ukraine more than, I believe, the annual budget for the Marine Corps. I could be wrong. I saw a tweet on that one. I could be wrong. Provides funding to Israel. And the Democrats, they really don't want a single issue bill on Israel funding because they are losing tremendous support from progressives. But this is it. Let me walk you through it, my friends. Al Sharpton calls the border crisis an invasion. It's absolutely remarkable what he is saying here, considering not even that long ago, the narrative was there is no invasion. Are you crazy?
What is being done to get the public to really rise up in various states to say to their senators?
Let me pause real quick. The Chiron, lower third for MSNBC, says House GOP vows to kill Senate border bill as aid for Ukraine hangs in the balance.
That they want to see the border issue resolved. I mean, you're getting migrants beating up policemen in the streets in New York. You're seeing an influx of migrants all over the country that frankly have people outraged. And couldn't there be some kind of public pressure put in the next couple of days in some of these senator states saying, why are you allowing this to continue? Because at the end of the day, senators have to deal with their voters. And at the same time, in the bill, you give money to Gaza, to civilians in Gaza and Israel. But the border, I mean, we're looking every day at the invasion of migrants.
Yeah, he just flippantly throws that in there.
They're playing a time game with politics on this. Couldn't that pressure put to bear in their home states?
Amazing. And these people are evil. Let me play that again.
But the border, I mean, we're looking every day at the invasion of migrants, and they're playing a time game.
Hey, if you want to burn fat, build muscle, and get it.
So, I mean, we get the point. You can take it down now. But, yeah, you see how Al Sharpton flipped the whole narrative. Mm-hmm. Like, now it's an invasion. Now we're talking about migrants beating up people. Now we're talking about people being outraged. We were just hearing how this wasn't a thing.
Right.
But now that they can put the blame on the other party by this fugazi bill that they put out there that they know has all this crap in it that the Republicans were not going to agree to. But to the public, if you just keep saying GOP won't pass the border bill. You know, it places the blame back on them. This is the strategic move.
But again, if most people don't do, I won't even say due diligence because it's like basics.
Yeah.
Like the basics. Oh, what is this border?
Right.
Like, let somebody tell you what it is
Right.
that you trust if you don't want to read it. Like,
People
But
don't
they
do
trust
that.
MSNBC to tell them what it is.
That's
It's
the
just
problem.
like,
Well,
you know,
yeah, that's the
a couple
problem, too.
weeks ago, we were talking about, you know, the whole Gaza and Israel thing.
Yeah.
From the river to the sea. What river?
Yeah.
What
Right,
sea?
right.
The Black Sea.
Yeah, they don't know.
What river? The Mississippi.
Yeah.
They have no clue.
Yeah.
You know, they're
But-
just.
and
they're-
this is the problem. How many college? I mean, we've all seen the
it's a shame.
all the videos of college students getting interviewed, and they ask them basic questions
Yeah.
about
Geography.
and
Geometry, too.
and they don't have an answer.
Right.
They don't know.
I didn't like geometry.
Ukraine, for example, they would ask, "Where's Ukraine?" You know, name 2 cities in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Remember in the debate when Vivek put
Vivek
Nikki
got-
Haley on the spot, and he was like, "She can't even name the provinces that we're at war with in Ukraine," and she just was,
Her face was.
she was stuck. She was like, he wants to send your sons and daughters off to die, but she can't even name the provinces
Yeah.
that we're at war.
She was quiet, right?
Yeah, she couldn't name them.
Yeah.
But let's go to Uncle Joe.
I can't name them either.
But you're not advocating for people to go
Right.
there and fight.
Right.
You're not a part of. You weren't a part of the UN.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's Joe Biden blaming Donald Trump and the MAGA movement.
Calling on Congress to pass this bill, get it to my desk immediately. But if the bill fails, I want to be absolutely clear about something. The American people are going to know why it failed. I'll be taking this issue to the country, and the voters are going to know that it's not just a moment. Just at the moment, we're going to secure the border and fund these other programs. Trump and the MAGA Republicans
And
said
fund
no.
these other.
You see how they keep like sliding that in there? They keep sliding that in like.
I said it.
Most of the money is going to the other programs.
Right, what are you talking about?
The
man?
border issue that you
created. Yeah.
Dude.
Amazing. He created
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
created it. You told people to come.
No. He literally struck down Trump's
He changed the executive orders that were in place.
and raised up his own.
Yeah.
Come
Yep.
on, man.
You stopped the building of the wall.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I mean, someone I was watching on, I think PBD's podcast, who used to work for that sector of the administration, he was talking about how February 2020 was the last numbers he had from when Trump was in office, and guess how many people came across the border?
How many?
I think he said 7.
7.
And he said the next year when Biden changed that executive order and pretty much opened the border up, that's February 2021 was when Biden came in power, 14,000 people. Wow. And that's just in one state.
Yeah.
Look at now.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference. But let's continue as he's going to
We're
blame
going to
Trump.
secure the border and fund these other programs. Trump and the MAGA Republicans said no because they're afraid of Donald Trump. Afraid of Donald Trump. Every day between now and November.
It's like he's reading it and discovering it as he's reading it. Like, he doesn't even know what he's about to say. He's just reading it. He's like, afraid of that guy.
The American people are going to know that the only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump and his MAGA Republican friends. It's time for Republicans in the Congress to show a little courage.
Dude, this is so frustrating, man.
It's cringe.
Listen.
It's the most cringe.
If you can't see this tactic for what it is, if you can't see what they're doing here, man, like, come on.
This is bad. Like the fact that he can get up there and say what he's saying,
And he sounds like he's asleep the whole time, too. Let's put that
he's
aside.
not. No, just like in the media, is not all over this, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, look at the Chiron at the bottom. Ready? Biden. Trump would rather weaponize migration issues than actually solve it. Wow. What was he doing the whole time he was in office?
Yeah, but what was
But
funny
he,
how
he was
Trump
racist.
saying?
Yeah.
He was racist.
He was racist
He was an
for trying to,
idiot for calling them fake news.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing how fake the news is.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on, man.
Come on, guys.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
What Biden is saying
He doesn't
right
say
there,
that anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't say, "Come on, man."
Yep.
But what Biden is saying right there, people are going to see through that.
Some people aren't.
Some people don't.
Some people really
I know,
believe that
I know some people
that the
that
MAGA
don't.
Republicans are the reason.
You know some people.
Yes, I know people that don't.
I know somebody too that's so against Trump, puts it up on Facebook all the time. You guys know him too.
Well, let's look at Chuck Schumer telling people how if they don't approve this bill, that your sons and daughters are going to have to go off to war in Ukraine.
Good old Chuck.
Wait, what's that have to do with Ukraine?
Exactly.
What the heck?
They
Well,
don't fund this bill.
Here he goes.
Leader McConnell on this bill, now that we see what's in it, seems to be as bipartisan as it gets.
Okay, fake. You're talking about fake news. You see how she framed that? The bill, as we see what's in it, seems to be as bipartisan as it gets. Who wouldn't approve of this wonderful bill to secure our borders? I mean, Chuck, tell us all about it.
Why wouldn't both sides really want this to go through?
Well, it's a great question, Mika. Look, it took a long time, 4 months of arduous negotiations. They fell off the tracks a whole bunch of times. I had to be on the phone even at midnight.
I swear, guys, I do a great job. I swear. I'm worth all the money I make, and I was on the phone getting this thing done.
And we've got to keep going. Why? We're at a turning point in America. This bill is crucial, and history will look back on it and say, did America fail itself? Why is it crucial? Well, if we don't aid Ukraine, Putin will walk all over Ukraine. We will lose the war, and
we will lose the war.
The war that we're not in.
I didn't know we were in a war. Wait a second.
Well, if we don't aid Ukraine, Putin will walk all over Ukraine. We will lose the war, and we could be.
Chuck, when did you start speaking French, brother? We will lose the war.
We.
Like, telling on himself.
Fighting in Eastern Europe in a NATO ally in a few years. Americans won't like that.
We'll be fighting in a NATO ally in Eastern Europe in a few years. Americans won't like that. So you're threatening that we're going to send people off to war if they don't approve this bill, this funding to Ukraine, Israel, and letting all these people in our country. Yeah.
I mean, he did say one thing that's true.
What?
We're at a turning point.
He did say that, but only to prove his narrative that he wants to.
We are at a turning
get
point,
across.
It's the turning point of, because he said for Americans to wake up or whatever. No, we need to wake up against you guys.
Yeah.
We need to wake up against this crap that you're trying to push. Hopefully people do, man.
Yep.
Because it's.
I think a lot of people are waking up.
I hope so, man. I think this border has really done a number on people. Like,
yeah,
it's really opened a lot of people's eyes, especially in the black community.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of Americans don't think they can be touched. Like I think they believe that they are secure.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, that stuff happens over there. It can't happen here. That stuff happens,
Yeah.
Well, they're seeing it, but what Jamie's saying, you're seeing all these videos of the black community voicing their opinion. They're seeing pretty much, a spit in their face. They don't care about our community.
Yeah.
These people are outsiders, and then the people that are in the community aren't getting any type of resources.
Right.
They're given money. They're given shelter.
They're giving jobs.
Jobs.
They're giving gun rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of the black community, did you guys see that MSNBC did a whole little thing about why blacks are voting for Trump, why his numbers are going up for blacks?
No, I got to see it.
So I'll play a little clip of it right here. They had a whole little segment on it, and this is in a black barber shop. Not set up at all. All men.
All men.
Yep. Let's play this little clip.
There's some people in your orbit who are either voting for Donald Trump or considering it?
For sure. A lot of my friends are obviously my age, so we're a little younger. We've only voted once, for a president. And Trump is kind of all we know. And they're kind of Trump and Biden. They're like, well, we were broke with Biden. We weren't with Trump. And that's kind of the only thing that I'm hearing over and over again, is that, well, Trump, we had money. Well, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely...
If you're a business owner...
There's definitely something going on there where you're seeing a shift, especially with black men. I got this other video. I think they play a little bit more of it here. This is from Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar. But they're talking about how Trump is actually doing better with voters, period. Like it's... Let me play it real quick.
We've got some stunning new polling out, speaking of the general election, that we can go ahead and start with and put this up there on the screen. I mean, this is one of those where one of the worst signs for Joe Biden yet. In the latest NBC News poll, Donald Trump is leading Joe Biden at 47 to 42%. And the top line number there for Trump is actually gone up since November. Joe Biden's number's gone down by 2. Let's go to the next part, clear, please, because this is equally important, where you can see the approval rating in an NBC News poll at the start of re-election for everyone for the last 20 years. George W. Bush started off in 2004 at 54%. He was riding off the high of his post 9/11 approval. Barack Obama in 2012 had a 49% approval rating. Donald Trump had a 46% approval rating. Joe Biden coming in at 37%. He's putting up Jimmy Carter level numbers in his year out ahead of the overall election in 2024. And Harry Enton, who works over at CNN, he's actually a pretty good polling analyst, flagged something which I think is probably the most important data point of this. This is the first time that a Republican for president has held a consistent lead in national polling since 2004, which is absolutely stunning. Crystal, I mean, there's a couple of things that we should go through here, and we're going to cover some of the pluses and the minuses. I guess today will be the...
Okay, I don't want to hear all that, but then they go into the NBC thing. I'll play a little. They do a little bit more of it, but you see,
Crystal don't like Trump.
Oh, absolutely not. And I don't think Sagar really doesn't
Yeah.
rock with him either. But just those. I just wanted to show those numbers.
But Jamie, I don't believe those numbers are correct.
Well, of course they're not, Mom. It's a poll, and it's a it's an NBC poll,
Right,
so it's already
42. It's probably 50 to 20.
Well, it's I mean, it's an NBC poll, so that goes without saying. Those numbers are going to be skewed in one way.
Oh my God.
But let's play this.
With Trump, what is it?
Money. Yeah. I mean, Donald Trump has a reputation of being the money man, so.
I just think that Donald Trump, in spite of all the craziness he may have in his head, reading some of the things that he talks about with business, I can kind of agree with as far as business-wise, because I'm trying to grow my business.
A lot of people admire the persona, and they want to be him. They want to enjoy the perks that he has. He seems to always be able to circumvent the rules.
You're hearing that too, that there's some people in your orbit who are either voting for Donald Trump or considering it?
For sure. A lot of my friends are obviously my age, so we're a little younger. We've only voted once, for a president. And Trump is kind of all we know. And they're kind of Trump and Biden. They're like, well, we were broke with Biden. We weren't with Trump. And that's kind of the only thing that I'm hearing over and over again is that, well, Trump, we had money. Well, okay, I hear you guys, but personally, morally, I couldn't see myself.
Hey, very honest, I think, in terms of that.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of it seemed like they're still, there's not a lot of knowledge about the deeper things. It's just more about like I had money when Trump was president.
And me personally, I hate that because I think it's more nuanced than that.
It's way more nuanced than
that.
that.
And I think
yeah.
when, for some reason, I feel like when they interview, especially black males about this, it's just about money.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of ignorant, man, I vote for Trump, man.
Yeah.
Trump, my man.
Trump got us paid, man. Trump got us
like
money.
It's they find like the worst, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even when they have like some polling, especially like MSNBC, they're gonna just focus on that. And there could be more that interview that didn't focus on that policy, certain things.
Yeah.
You know, because you never hear them mentioning First Step Act. You never hear them mentioning that he signed a bill with Sandra Bland, not Sandra Bland, Angela Stanton, was a woman that gave birth while handcuffed, and she went and talked to him, and he changed that so no woman would ever give, whether she's incarcerated or not, ever give birth handcuffed.
Yeah.
He signed a 10-year funding towards black HBCUs that no president who would come after him would change. There's a lot of things that he did, and you never hear them mention that. It's just about where the money at, man.
Yeah.
You know, so it makes them. So what it does is that it makes it look like just all these dudes cares about money.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, what about the Abraham Accords?
Yeah.
That he's still getting nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for.
Right.
What about
MSNBC? And don't talk about that.
Oh, of course not. What about no wars?
No wars, yeah.
Trying to pull troops out of Syria, out of Afghanistan. He was told by his military officials that the troops were pulled out of Syria, and they lied to him and lied to the American people and kept people there, without him knowing. Like, that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's play this clip from Jamal Bryant.
At the risk of being heretical.
Well, we started late. Let's play this clip from Jamal Bryant. This will be the last thing that we do. This is something that Jake sent me before.
Tonight, might I suggest to you that 85% of Jesus' life, he was out of order. 85% of his life, he was doing what he was not called to do. God, y'all done got quiet.
Yelling in the background like, yeah.
What were they? Yeah, I don't hear what they're saying in the back.
I don't know what they're saying, but
For 85% of his life, he was not flowing in his God-given function. 85% of his life, he is doing what his natural father wanted, but it did not line up with his divine DNA.
DNA. That's that.
85%
Baltimore.
He's
preacher talk. Baltimore preacher.
He's called, he's chosen, and he's wrong. At the risk of being heretical,
Bro, everything about that is wrong.
What is he trying to say?
I don't.
You heard
No, I heard what he said.
He said
He
he's
did what
trying
his
to
what his
say-
earthly father called him to do. He's talking about him being a carpenter.
Yeah, he's trying to say that basically only the 3 years he was doing what God wanted him to do, which is the dumbest thing you could say. Like, what are you talking about? He's saying 85% of his life.
Yeah.
Right?
He wasn't doing what he was
wasn't
called to
doing
do.
what he was called. So he's trying to give leeway to everybody else.
Oh.
What are you trying to say?
Right. That's what I meant.
Right.
Like, what is he getting at? What is the point of him even bringing that up?
Yeah, that's the point. I'm guessing.
He's trying to say even Jesus wasn't living life right. So excuse all the things I've done. Excuse all the women I've impregnated, y'all. Because even Jesus, for 85% of his life, wasn't doing
He
what
said
God
was
called him
wrong.
to do. Was wrong.
Was wrong.
He was wrong.
If you're wrong, then you're in sin.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. So you're saying Jesus was without sin.
Yeah.
How can you, like, he's a preacher. But I brought this up because this could only happen in a black church.
Really?
I'm talking.
I've heard some nonsense.
Wait.
Okay.
Let me.
Didn't
Go ahead.
Didn't what's dude's name?
Joel Osteen?
No, Copeland. Is it Copeland?
Kenneth Copeland?
Didn't he like cut himself and drank blood in the cup, and
yeah, he did.
That's a white church, bro.
Yeah.
That's some buffoonery happening in the white church, bro.
But this is a little different. To me, this is a little different.
This is buffoonery in a black way. It's just
to me. No, this is different because, like, even though that happened, like,
so that's more similar to Michael Todd spitting in someone's eye.
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
I got you.
To me,
I got you.
Like, I could see how you can finagle the text,
right?
To be like, see how this works,
right?
But what I'm saying with like there's no finagling the text,
right?
With what this guy is coming up with,
Yeah.
That's my point. Like, my point is that you're giving him. We give people so much leeway,
right?
And he has a mega church,
yeah,
right? And we're giving. Well, not we.
So
but
didn't Stephen Furtick say, "I am God" in one of his sermons one time?
Is that I am God Almighty?
Yeah, I am God Almighty. Yeah.
But he kind of like said he kind of made a.
Yeah, he did say something. But
Yeah.
He didn't mean that. He was explaining how this is God saying, "I am God Almighty."
Oh, yeah. That's a convenient answer fact.
You know, he changed it up.
Which, yeah, that's pretty bad too. But this guy is going through it line by line and trying to tell you how Jesus was wrong and how Jesus was
85%.
just this guy who, the only a small portion of his life was he actually serving God.
Yeah, that is madness.
Like, come on, man. That to me is craziness. And I just think like because we idolize these people.
Yeah.
We give them so much leeway to say these things,
Mm-hmm.
Because we put them on a pedestal. Like, because there's people back there like,
come on,
tell them. Like,
what's his name again?
Jamal Bryant.
Jamal Bryant.
He took over for Eddie Long, but that church is not packed that it used to be. If you ever look at when he preaches, they never do wide shots anymore.
No.
They do single shots.
Well, I mean, this guy has had. I think he might even have 3. Maybe I know 2 definites. I'm thinking when I said that, it made me think of
2 and a possible. I got 2 definites and a possible.
I got
what you
2
got?
and a pass.
What you got?
Maybe thinking
He
of
playing
thinking about
spades with babies.
I was about to ask. Y'all know what we're talking about?
Jamal Bryant's playing spades with his baby.
I know
mamas.
he got two definites out of wedlock.
Yeah.
From
the church,
from the congregation.
Yeah.
And a couple pas.
Not the same congregation.
Yeah.
But, 2 definites and a possible.
Yeah.
At that right there should tell you like.
I mean, that
how
kind
is
of
he
disqualifies you from pastoring.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, anything. People could turn their life around and give their life over to God and be learned from it. But when you see,
that's why he's giving that speech.
Because 85% of his life,
85% of Jesus' life.
Yeah.
Jesus probably has some baby mamas we don't know about.
Yeah,
85%.
And granted, you're right. Like anybody can give their life over to God
Yeah.
and change their life. But my point is that like he never stepped. You shouldn't be pastoring the church doing that,
right?
Right? And he never stepped down.
Mm-hmm.
He never said like, "Yeah, I'm wrong. Let me get my life." No, he just kept trugging on.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, having all those baby mamas and all that, he's still talking about Jesus, that he was 85% wrong.
Yeah.
I just think it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, but this is why people are leaving the church like this. This is why this is why men aren't in there. This is why people are leaving in droves. This is why people would rather listen to someone like this talk about Jesus.
The reason I wear a cross is because Christianity, and in particular the figure of Christ, are, it seems to me, inevitably becoming more important as I become more familiar with suffering, purpose, self, and not self. I'm reading the Bible a lot more, and as I've told you before, I'm reading Rick Warren's Purpose-Driven Life. When I grew up, Christianity seemed like it was either really irrelevant and old-fashioned and sort of dusty and sort of incense and sort of Honor Domine, or they try to modernise it and it seems just like, right, okay, we're going to talk about Jesus. And like both of those routes seem like, I don't know if there's anything for me. And I suppose it takes a certain amount of adulthood, and it might be different for all of us. For me, it seems that it's taken quite a lot to recognise that I need a personal relationship with God. It occurred to me that if instead of always talking to myself inwardly, I could replace one of those voices with an indwelling God. It says in Galatians, it is our job to die so that as Christ died on the cross, he might be reborn in us. I'm very interested to hear what you think, because for me, my heart is open. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Remember, you could join us on Locals.
Yeah, so you look at someone like this who, how far he's come, and then what has led him to this journey to like be reading the Bible and be interested in Christ's words, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then him saying like he could already see from an early age the ridiculousness that it was church. You know what I mean? And the purposelessness that it was, and how it really didn't give you a relationship. You know, it was just more of a place you go and they do their churchy thing. You know what I mean? And I think for a lot of men, you see that issue coming up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when you go into a church like what Jamal Bryant was doing there, it's like, I don't want to have nothing to do with that, the theatrics of that thing. I don't want to, I've been to that so many times. I know what that is. That it does nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? So I think like you're seeing why people are turning or would rather listen to someone like Russell Brand. You know what I mean?
And I think what he's dealing with, Russell Brand, is, you know, we at first we think that it's going to deal with our desires and we're going to connect to God in a way where it's going to fulfill our desires. But then we start to realize, wait, I got all these desires that they're not really for me. They're actually against me. Yeah. You know, and if and like that, the whole relationship thing, like you hear that, it becomes something very watered down. Where people think like, oh yeah, in a relationship with Jesus. Yeah. You know, I have a personal relationship with Jesus. Like you hear these things, but what does that mean? And then when we realize like, oh, I have to submit myself and my desires to him because he's more powerful than me. And he's done what I couldn't do. Right. And if I give that over to him, he can show me and he can do it for me or do it with me. Right. He can walk me through it. We can walk together. Right. We can walk this thing out together. And you start to get that more and more as you give your life over to Jesus. Right. Yeah. And that's what he's talking about. But at first, you get this thing where I want to do what I want to do, and I want to make God accessible to me in my own way. Right. I want to make God you see this really in a lot of those churches, like the Jamal Bryant's, have it your way, Burger King type church. Right.
I want to make God fit into what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make it fit into my idea, and if it doesn't, well, I don't want to have anything to do with that God. You know, we see this so much, or it doesn't. Why can't God be like this? And then we realize, well, wait, like he was talking about, oh no, you know, all that stuff, and he's like, yeah, that doesn't make sense in this world we live in. But then you start to go back to like, wait, what? Why? Like when you actually open yourself up, you're like, well, why? Where'd that come from? Where are these things? You start to see like, well, maybe it's old, but how can we connect it to the new? And maybe that's the job of us as the new generation growing up. But if we just give up on it, then how does it move forward? And that's what happens. A lot of us just give up because we want to do whatever we desire. And it don't make no sense to me because it doesn't connect to what I want to do in my life, right? And then it gets lost.
Yep.
And it's funny because when I was raised in a Catholic church, I know what he's talking about. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you go and you don't know what the heck the priest is talking about. You just go because it's a ritual. It's a tradition of men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then You know how the Word of God says, if you seek, you shall find.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to keep, your heart is telling you can't be it. You just keep seeking, and God eventually will show you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I studied with Jehovah's Witness, I was a Buddhist, you know, all that, and then the Lord showed me those weren't the right way, and then showed me the right way.
Yeah, but your heart has to be open, right? I wanna find the truth,
and that's what he was just saying in his video. Yeah,
I want to find the truth, and you'll find it. Like that's what the Bible says. If you seek the truth, you're gonna find it. It's just, are you gonna settle?
Yeah,
you know, are you gonna settle for what you think the truth is?
But I like what he said about, and he's new in this, about yourself dying
to yourself. Yeah,
because
to let Jesus be reborn.
A lot of people don't say that. A lot of people just think you could do whatever. No, you gotta die to yourself.
Yeah, and we're dying. Like, all of us have preconceived notions of who we think God is, right? How we've seen God, and some of those things are perverted, or they're not true, or they're misunderstandings, you know, and we have to die to that. We have to die to those things, and God leads us through that. If we settle for that, right, sometimes things will come along in our life that unsettle us, and we got to realize, oh, that's not working what I thought God was.
Right.
How I thought he worked. That's not working. So it's got to be something else. And so when these things come along that seem like they're bad, right, to most people, when suffering comes along that seems like, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with suffering. But actually, that's God's love, right? Count it all joy when you go through various trials, that your faith produces patience or endurance. That's love that is teaching us how to endure with God, right? Enduring what? Enduring our faith, enduring our trusting him, so we can go further in trusting God, right? And as we trust God, we're growing with him. We're dealing with our own identity. We're stepping away from who we thought we were. Isn't it interesting how identity in the world is always connected to what you've achieved, right? Like when you talk to people, when you first meet people, oh, what do you do?
What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you're already like gauging them. What do you do? What do you know, like it's all about the things we do.
Yeah.
Right? Where when we encourage people as believers, we encourage them in the hope of the glory that is Christ, right? Meaning, how do we know that if we don't read the Bible?
Yeah.
We don't have an image. We don't have when we're struggling and we feel like we're lost. We go to the Bible, right? And then the Holy Spirit reveals something there, right? We read it, and it shows us something where we didn't see it and it gives us hope, right? It encourages us. The joy of the Lord is our strength. It strengthens us in a place where we weren't strong before. We were weak, right? And we were going to sing, but it's the joy of the Lord is our strength. We need his strength, and we need his joy, but it's his joy. So it's how he sees us. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, he sees us through him. He sees us through him. He's not looking at us the way we are. We see us through our own eyes, right? But when we see him, he gives us strength, because now we're seeing ourselves in him, right? But we don't realize that. So and then when we look at each other, he's teaching us to deny what we see that's their old self, but to see him in them, right? To see him in you and you. So now I'm not judging you in that same way anymore. I'm not identifying and connecting with you. Oh, what do you do? Okay. Oh, you do all that? Oh, I guess you're somebody that I can talk to. You know, how many people we've met that they're disinterested if you don't click or check off all the boxes that make sense to them, right? But what I find so interesting is when I can talk to people and really be interested in like why they come to these conclusions or where they came from, why they act the way they do, then I can connect that back to him, back to Jesus, right? Because of what I know in him. and then I can encourage them in that.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's my point. Like we need a foundation. We need an image. We need something that solidifies us and strengthens us, or else we're just out here like trying to prove ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Because what's success? Well, he did it, so he must be. Oh, Jay-Z. Jay-Z said that. I'm gonna listen to everything he said because he was successful, and he's an image of success. But he's gonna let you down. He's not gonna live up to that image because that's not really the true image, right? So now I'm gonna try to live up to that image that I see because he's the only thing I think I know that can be successful. So I'm living that way, and it's not working for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're dealing with in the world, and somebody like a Russell Brand. I think he's been through all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's recognized that, you know, he's challenged himself to speak to these people that he doesn't agree with, and it's brought him to a place of finding the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But many people aren't going to get there like a Russell Brand if they're not challenged, and they don't really want to know the truth.
Yeah, if they don't die.
And comfort keeps us from knowing the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That false sense of comfort. Well, no, I'm good. I got everything I need.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about it. How'd you get everything you needed?
Right.
I did it.
On your own, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right, let's wrap it up, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you, like always. If you like what you heard here, if you were interested in the conversation, you think this is something that you would like to get behind and support and help spread to the masses, you can go over to our Patreon and become a member of the Pride. And we can wrap up now so these guys can go to bed. I see a lot of tired people in the room. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget merch, music, all on Jatan.com. And also the link to our merch store for Young Lion TV is in the description. Get your tickets to our show if you're in the Philly area for City Winery. That ticket link is on our pages. We've been sharing it. So just go to citywinery.com if you can't find it. And that's on February 29th. Yeah, other than that, thank you guys. Shout out to everybody on Instagram, Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Young Lion go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah.